Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero podcast, the show where I cover the least in the best way possible. I'm your host, Jason Wells. Today is Wednesday, November 20th. Good week of football that just happened. I mean, we had the Lions absolutely whooping the Jags, and I mean put a whooping on them. The Bills win another regular season game versus the Chiefs. We'll see come playoff time if it matters. Usually doesn't. Taysom Hill had one of his classic Taysom Hill games. I think he finished with the most fantasy points out of any player this week, which is absolutely insane. I'm starting to believe. I'm starting to believe the Broncos' big win against the Falcons, keeping them firmly in that last wild card spot. And can you hear it? It's the 72 Dolphins popping their champagne. Again, Chiefs perfect no more. Dolphins continue to remain the only perfect season team. That's the only thing that they've ever done in the history that's worth any relevance. Congrats to the 72 Dolphins, I guess. There's not many of you left. I think, where's that picture? That picture up there? I think only Larry Sonka's left, and then, Jim Kick and Mercury Morris sadly passed away. Either way, I don't know why I'm getting into this, but good episode underway. Recapping this week, college football highlights. I guess we'll get into it here. If you notice, first off, behind me, if you're watching on video, is I got some birthday decorations up because it was my birthday last month. Now it is my lovely girlfriend's. Having a good time. Yeah. But yeah, happy birthday to her. She is the most important person in my life. Yeah, she might be able to hear this. I don't think so, though. But yeah, happy birthday to Taysom. And let's get into these college football highlights. Florida State becomes the only school in FBS and FCS to not score 21 points in a game so far. The fall of Florida State this season has been wild. Indiana coach Kirk Cignetti gets an 8-year deal worth $8 million per year. Huge deal. Very big to get that deal done before he plays Ohio State too. But Kirk Cignetti, he just seems to run good programs. But he's 10 games into his Indiana tenure, but he is their solution. Interesting to see how that goes. All Owl head coaches in football have been fired so far. FAU, Kennesaw State, Rice, and Temple. All Owl mascots, all coaches have been fired. Undefeated number 6 BYU goes down to Kansas, kind of ending BYU's playoff hopes, you would think. DJ Lagway in Florida squeak one past, or take down LSU, I should say. They did not squeak past them. They dominated them. DJ Lagway's arm is absolutely insane. That's someone to monitor, at least in NFL circles, is DJ Lagway. And finally, Oregon squeaks past Wisconsin to win. And with that, there goes Dylan Gabriel's Heisman hopes. And right now, it's Ashton Genty versus Travis Hunter. I got futures on both of them. I don't care who wins. But there seems to be this narrative out there that what Travis Hunter is doing is not impressive. He is a top 5 corner and a top 5 wide receiver in college. People bring up Miles Jack. They bring up Jabril Peppers. It's not the same. Miles Jack, Jabril Peppers did not even get close to the same offensive touches. Travis Hunter, what he's doing should not be devalued, underrated. It is phenomenal. And what Ashton Genty is doing too is one of the better running back seasons. I think he has more yards than Jonathan Taylor in his big Wisconsin season and more broken tackles than Bijan Robinson in his big Texas season. And he's still got a few games left. The Heisman race is crazy. Both of these guys deserve it so much. And I don't care who wins because I'm going to make money on both of them. As long as it's not Cam Ward or Dylan Gabriel, I'm absolutely happy. Those are the Week 12 college football highlights. I think it's Week 12. I'm kind of losing track here. But we can get into this NFL Week 11 recap, starting off with the game we watched most recently, that Monday Night Football game. Texans 34, Cowboys 10. The Texans, again, It got a little close at one point, not really, but the Texans dominate. The Texans are far and away the better team, and they're not even that good. Again, they looked a little vulnerable to the Cowboys, who the Cowboys are just garbage, and I got lots more stats on the Cowboys here. But, yep, CJ Stroud, decent game. The return of Nico Collins, who, fantasy purposes, we thought that he caught that first screen catch, ran at 72 yards, got called back for a holding, but fairly quiet. But it's the resurgence of Joe Mixon that, who saw this coming, that Joe Mixon is one of like a top 5 running back in the NFL, and I think top 5 easy right now. But 20 carries, 109 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Absolutely phenomenal stuff from Mixon. I don't really get it. And the defense, Derek Stingley probably could have had 3 interceptions in this one, would have been maybe 3 pick sixes. He's an absolute stud, and I think that he is the best corner now from that 2022 class, because Ahmad Gardner does not deserve that recognition. I think it is Stingley. And hey, probably Trent McDuffie's better than Ahmad Gardner right now, too. Crazy how, that class, but again, all phenomenal careers so far to start. Some are wavering, but Stingley is looking like the talent that people thought he was, and he is. Yeah, I don't think I have any. Oh, the Cowboys, Derek Barnett is also having a good year. I think Will Anderson's still banged up. I don't believe he played in this one. Wasn't on the stat sheet, so I'm just going to say he didn't play. But yeah, that's why Derek Barnett was in so much. But Derek Barnett, got a couple sacks, but the most impressive one was the strip sack on Cooper Rush, fumble, and then Tyler Guyton, the rookie, picks it up. And here comes Jalen Petrie, who's also having a great year. Smacks Guyton, knocks the football loose. Derek Barnett scoops up that fumble, returns it for a touchdown. So yeah, 2 forced fumbles on the same play. I was watching the Manning cast when that happened, and JJ and both Manning brothers were both confused if there can be 2 forced fumbles on the same play, but there was very, very, very clearly 2 forced fumbles on that play. Crazy game. The Cowboys on the other side, it's just flat out embarrassing. Their stadium was even falling apart at the start of the game. They opened the roof for the first time in forever, basically, on like those late November nights. That's beautiful out. I don't know. But yeah, some sheet metal fell off from the roof. Thankfully didn't hit anybody, but I don't know. The Cowboys are just awful, and I think the most hilarious Cowboys stat that I found is the Saints have more touchdowns at Jerry World this season than the Cowboys do. That's an unbelievable stat. I could not believe that when I saw it. Cooper Rush in this one, I think he had 50 attempts, if my mind serves me correctly. 55 attempts for Cooper Rush. That just can't happen. It's so bad. And he looked very okay. Again, when you have 55 attempts and he had 354 passing yards and a touchdown and an interception. 55 attempts. That is not good. I would love to see what Trey Lance can do, but the Saints just flat out, or not the Saints, the Cowboys just flat out aren't good. The only positive that I can give them here is Kevontae Turpin on their lone TD of the day hit 22.36 miles per hour. That is the fastest ball carrier since 2020. So shout out to Kevontae Turpin for being very, very fast. We can go all the way back to Thursday Night Football. Commanders 18, Eagles 26. Hey, the Eagles continue to go. They're on a roll right now. They're playing good football. And again, there was those questionable decisions and play calling from the Eagles, but hey, they played well. They held Jaden Daniels to probably his worst performance as a pro. And I think that's back-to-back weeks now where I have said that, Jaden Daniels has had the worst game so far of his career. And even then, he's playing decent. It was, again, the Eagles took away those deep shots. Shout out to Quinyon Mitchell. Shout out to Cooper DeJean. They're playing absolutely incredible. I am on the Quinyon Mitchell for Defensive Rookie of the Year, mainly because I parlayed it with Brock Bowers, and those odds were juicy. But, yeah, the Eagles, they continue to do their thing. Saquon Barkley, incredible. As he always is, 26 rushes, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns in this one. Should have been 3, but he was stopped again at the 1 yard line, and he's been stopped at the 1 yard line 9 times this season. And in those 9 touches, I think he's had 1 carry where he's lost yards. Jalen Hurts has 6 rushing touchdowns. He has 1 passing touchdown, and then he's fumbled at 1 time. So you look at those numbers, and I think Saquon has 9 touchdowns on the season. He might have hit double digits after this game, but he could have another 6, 7 rushing touchdowns on the season right now and just be running away with Offensive Player of the Year. I think Saquon, it's going to be tough. It's going to be between him and Derrick Henry. I mean, Jamar Chase is making a case for himself too, but I think the running backs are going to do it. Saquon Barkley is playing absolutely lights out. And yeah, I'll shout out Zach Bond, shout out Nakobe Dean, shout out Jalen Carter. He, again, looks like a monster, like he does. But yeah, this defense is playing really well, and I think that's just kind of what I have to leave it at. The offense is also playing really well, but I always feel like it should be better with them. But again, I'm not really saying much. Commanders on the other side. I said it already. Don't really have to labor on this point too much. But the offense, back-to-back weeks, not up to par. It is what it is. But these are the Cliff Kingsbury woes that we talk about, where basically his entire coaching career, he has had a bad performances on his offenses for the second half of seasons very, very consistently. As you hear the nice maintenance men from my building rolling the garbage cans down, back down the hill. That'll be done shortly, but I don't think we have much really left to say from the Commanders other than watch the second half dip. Again, they're still in firm control of whatever playoff spot that they want it to be, but be aware of the dip. The defense did play well. Mike Sanistril is an absolute dog. Have to shout him out. And they don't even have Marshawn Lattimore back. So maybe their defense has been playing well. I've been very impressed by their defense. And now I think it's the offense is going to take a bit of a lull here. But we can get into the Sunday games. And starting off with the Colts versus the Jets. Colts 28, Jets 27. And Anthony Richardson is awesome. He had his best game as a pro easily so far. 304 total yards, 3 touchdowns, 67% completion rate, back-to-back 70-yard touchdown drives in the fourth quarter to get that win as well. This is why you play Anthony Richardson, is because he can do these things. He can't do them always consistently, but he can do these things, and the Jets are they're the Jets. What are we going to do? But what a great game for him to get, again, he got everyone. Josh Downs got involved. Alec Pierce got involved. A.D. Mitchell almost had a long touchdown. You can see, this is why you play Anthony Richardson. It's as simple as that. The Colts, again, they've got a direction now. Buy into Anthony Richardson. He is the guy for the future. I'm not going to predict that he's going to have a down week next week, but I might have to bet that he's going to have a down week next week, because let's see him put two good performances together. Unlike the Jets, who cannot put 2 good performances together. I don't even know where to start with the Jets at this point. They fired Joe Douglas. I'm going to talk more about that on Friday's show, but it's very funny that owner Woody Johnson in the offseason said, this is the most talented Jets team that has ever been here. And, hey, listen, they replaced Zach Wilson with Aaron Rodgers. They replaced Randall Cobb with Devontae Adams. They replaced Mekhi Becton with Tyron Smith, Dwayne Brown with Morgan Moses, Laken Tomlinson to John Simpson, Bryce Huff to Hassan Reddick. And they got worse. They got worse in every single facet of the game. It's been so embarrassing for them. And I enjoy it. But there's no direction now for the Jets. I'm on the page where they got to start selling assets. Someone like Ahmad Gardner, who, not another good performance in this one. You have to start thinking of trading players. And Gardner's going to give you some value here. No doubt about it. But he went from top 2, 1A, 1B corner in the league to he has not been a top 10, maybe not even a top 20 corner. He has been getting consistently cooked. And I still believe in the talent. I believe in the talent a lot. But we got to start having these conversations. And one of the conversations we got to also start having, Aaron Rodgers sucks. Aaron Rodgers is just flat out not a good quarterback. Doesn't want to be there anymore. Looks uninterested the entire time. Still blames, has some god-awful throws, and then looks at the receiver like, what are you doing? Run when it's 10 feet behind him. Rodgers is bad. Rodgers probably wants to come back and collect that paycheck next year, but he's going to be cut. And that asks the question, who wants Aaron Rodgers on their team? No one. Like, I wouldn't sign Aaron Rodgers for more than $10 million next year. Bridge quarterback, fine. I saw someone tweet out that, that Rodgers should go to the Browns to just kind of make that like a toxic waste dump for quarterbacks, which would be very funny if the Browns cut Watson, which we'll see what they do because that dead cap is crazy. And the Jets' dead cap is also crazy if they cut Aaron Rodgers, but you just kind of have to do it at this point. I don't know what their plan is, but the Jets are the Jets. They're way too talented. This is loud. Yeah. I don't know what is happening. I feel like they're bringing the dumpsters down, but yeah. Absolutely ridiculous. Move on to the next game. Ravens 16, Steelers 18. The Steelers, for their second time this season, have won a game only kicking field goals. Chris Boswell is a superstar. I don't know all the names off the top of my head, but he has like more fantasy points than Tyreek, Devonta Smith, Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris. I think I said Tyreek. Like Travis Kelce, like Chris Boswell, the kicker, more points than that guy. And that brings me to my first point. Kickers should not be that relevant in fantasy ever. I don't care if they have these good of days. Kickers, relevant in fantasy, but I don't know. The Steelers shouldn't have won this one. I don't care if, like, again, it's a big moral victory. You beat the Ravens. I mean, you usually do beat the Ravens, but kicking 6 field goals to win is just never going to impress me. Russ looked like the Russ we've seen. He made a couple nice deep throws to George Pickens, but when those weren't open, it didn't look good. The run game didn't look good. Russ had that terrible red zone pick, but at the end of the day, it was the Ravens getting in their own way multiple times, starting off with the very first play of the game, fumble by Derrick Henry. We don't see that often. Then followed by 2 Justin Tucker missed kicks. That doesn't happen. Like, that quite literally doesn't happen, and I am now worried about Justin Tucker's future and not knowing what an NFL without Justin Tucker looks like. But I think I said it a couple weeks ago where he might not be he might not be a top 5 kicker in the league anymore, but like he's still like I don't even know if he's top 10. I think he's league average at this point, which for Justin Tucker is like a mighty fall off. Father Time catches up with everyone, I guess. But yeah, more Ravens mistakes. So we got the fumble by Derrick Henry. We got the 2 missed kicks by Justin Tucker. And then to top it all off, Peyton Wilson, the rookie linebacker, rips the ball out of, who was that? I think it was Rashad Bateman, but just battle for the ball. Was a great throw by Lamar, and then just, nope, Peyton Wilson's ball, rips it for the interception. You can't win football games with that many mistakes. I think there was even a mistake on that final play because, again, the Ravens were in position to tie it. They score a touchdown late, 2-point conversion, and then I think there was a communication issue between Likely and Aguilar, and I think one of those guys was supposed to be that outlet pass for Lamar. They both blocked, and Lamar was bottled up easy. Huge wins for the Steelers. Not trying to take it away from them, but this doesn't really change my perception of them. I think it's that simple, so we can keep going here. Next game up is the Vikings and Titans. Vikings 23, Titans 13. No turnovers from Sam Darnold in this one, and that kind of disappoints me. But a win is a win. Sam Darnold played good football, played like the Sam Darnold we've seen a little bit. Justin Jefferson becomes the has the most yards through 5 seasons. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, most yards through 5 seasons, and we still have 7 games left to play. Justin Jefferson is on an incredible tear to start his career. But yeah, really, the Vikings just took care of business in this one. Andrew Van Ginkel, another 2 sacks. I think he joined like elite company with guys having like 8 sacks, forced fumbles, and like multiple interceptions on the season, where I miss Van Ginkel, but he has kind of blossomed into a star. Someone who and Andrew Van Ginkel should make a Pro Bowl this year. I don't know if it will because voting and people don't recognize the guys who like might actually deserve it, but Andrew Van Ginkel deserves to make a Pro Bowl. At least maybe be an alternate for the Pro Bowl. Let's try to get that started. You know, all 10 people listening out there, let's all vote Andrew Van Ginkel for the Pro Bowl. I don't really have to say much for the Vikings. The Vikings took care of business, did exactly what they needed to do. Titans on the other side. Will Levis puts, again, decent performances back to back. It's not good. He's not the QB of the future, but he's better than Mason Rudolph, and maybe if you're not in a position to draft a better quarterback next year, at least you got Will Levis. That's not that great, but couldn't get the run game going. Calvin Ridley still looks very good. It was basically there was a 98-yard catch and run from Nicholas Westbrook-Akine that was the big play in this one. 98 yards. Back up in the end zone. Will Levis, great throw. That was the big play of the game. That was essentially the only play of the game for them. But looks a little bit better on the scoreboard. And again, nothing much to really talk about, so we can keep going on. Jags 6, Lions. Why don't I have this in here? No, I messed that up. We're not on that game. We are on Browns 14, Saints 35. The legend of Taysom Hill is incredible. I don't know where he ranks in like all-time football players, because that's kind of a crazy thing to compare yourself, but just on a pure football basis, Taysom Hill is one of the better players to ever play in the NFL. Like, he can do it all. He lined up in this one. He had 8 snaps at quarterback, 7 at running back, 9 at tight end, 9 at wide receiver, and then 11 on special teams. The man can do it all, and it's so insanely impressive. He was 1 for 2 for 18 yards and an interception. We got to talk about that interception too. But then on the ground, 7 rushes for 138 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. He's the oldest player in NFL history to have a 75-yard plus rushing touchdown. He's 34 years old. Added another 8 catches for 50 yards in this too. He can do everything, and he's so weird. I think he has to be in my Hall of Very Good whenever he retires, just because he is very good. He's not very good at one position and one thing in particular, but he's just very good across all positions in the NFL. But the Saints just, I don't know. I went into this one, and I think I said it on Friday's show, where all the Browns have to do is not let Marquez Valdes-Scantling catch a 70-plus yard touchdown. He did it again to them in this one. and, maybe not have Taysom Hill score 3 touchdowns, and they would have won this game. Mind-boggling that this is the outcome, like back-to-back weeks, and Darren Rizzi has something in the water there in New Orleans, because no one can make kicks against New Orleans now, too. Younghoe Koo was 1 for 4, I believe, last week against the Saints. And then this past weekend, Dustin Hopkins walks right in. Okay, it's a 32-yard field goal. That's a chip shot. Misses it. But, there's a penalty on the Saints. They go 3 plays, nothing happens. They gain 5 more yards. Okay, it's a 27-yard field goal now. Shanks that one. Teams just can't kick against the Saints anymore. I don't know what coaching bump and whatever, but I got to bet so hard against the Saints this week. I don't even know who they're playing, but an offense of Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Taysom Hill is not a sustainable one, in my opinion anyways. I don't know if that's like the unpopular one out there. Definitely, yeah. Browns on the other side. Jameis actually had a really good game. 30 of 46, 395 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Jerry Jeudy had his best game of his career, 6 catches, 142 yards, and a TD. He was getting everyone involved. I did, however, start Cedric Tillman, and he was like the one guy to not really do as much as I thought he was going to do, but he still had a good game anyways, and I will continue to buy into the Cedric Tillman hype train. Yeah, this Browns team is just kind of in no man's land right now. Nothing really they can do other than just hope that Jameis Winston gives them some good fun vibes and fun things to watch, but not much to talk about the Browns. This was all Saints in this one, so we can move on. Now we are on the Jags and Lions. Jags 6, Lions 52. Absolutely embarrassing. Insanely embarrassing game from the Jags. But we will start off with the Lions, because the Lions absolutely throttled them. For I think the 4th time this season, Jared Goff had more touchdowns than interceptions. Or no, the Lions had more touchdowns than Jared Goff had incompletions in this one. That's the stat. And now that lovely sound you hear is my dog Lucy drinking, which she's got to drink water, so we'll give her a break here. She doesn't know I'm recording. She's a dog after all. But I don't know. The Lions just continue to kill everyone week after week. In the game where Goff threw 5 interceptions, they still won because they are just that good of a team. But David Montgomery, 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs had a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 2 touchdowns. Jamison Williams had a touchdown. Brock Wright had a touchdown. It's just everyone gets going. The defense is great. Unfortunately, Alex Anzalone is out for the next 6 to 8 weeks with a broken arm. I get that. I've had that injury. Not a good one. He will come back. Actually, I was going to say, he's going to come back stronger than ever, but I broke my arm again like 2 months later, so. But Alex Anzalone is a professional athlete and not a child in grade 10, so a bit of a difference there, I guess. But this Lions team they're just on a roll. And I think the most impressive stat that I have from this one is they were outgained, or the Jags were outgained by 475 yards. That is the most in a game since 1979. That's basically the equivalent, and the equivalent I've seen thrown out there has been like prime Alabama playing a school like Mercer, Mercer's not a real school. It is a real school, but it's not a real school. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's how big the discrepancy of how these two NFL teams operate. Flat out embarrassing. And the Jags, I don't understand it. Like, a year ago, basically, they were 8-3, leading the division. Trevor Lawrence just outdueled C.J. Stroud in, like, a big matchup. And then since then, they have been 3-14. 8-3 a year ago, and since then, 3-14. The fall off from the Jags is absolutely incredible, and I can't even really call it a fall off because this is just what the Jags do. They have like one good year, and then it's just crashing right back down to earth. We saw it in 2017. We're seeing it again. I don't know. It's embarrassing, and a lot of finger pointing to go around. And you can blame it on the coaching staff. You can blame it on Trent Baalke. You can blame it on ownership. You can blame it on the players. Everyone deserves blame. Like, when you lose that badly and, I don't know, you're just this consistently bad, everyone deserves blame. Yet no one has been fired. Doug Peterson still has his job. Press Taylor still has his job. Ryan Nielsen still has his job. Trent Baalke still has his job. They're on their bye week. This would have been the week they have a week to prepare, and then the week after they're like, oh, let's see. But no, Shad Khan is just going to ride it out. I don't think it's a terrible idea. Like, there's like no real point. Because like, you do get that interim head coaching bump for at least one game to start off, and why would you want that interim head coaching bump? You want to lose. I think it's as simple as that. The Jags are embarrassing while the Lions are the best team in football. Far and away the best team in football right now. Next game up, Packers 20, Bears 19. The Packers should have lost this one. This was flat out embarrassing. Bad coaching job by Matt Eberflus. Where, yeah, they have a field goal to win. Fairly easy field goal, but, could have made it a little easier. They had 30 seconds left in field goal range. They had one timeout, and they don't try to get any closer for their kicker, which, okay, it was like, I think a 47-yarder. Like, that's totally makeable. He should make that. But it gets blocked, and you could have had, I think his success rate when it's like 45 and in compared to like 47 and in is like drastically different. It all starts up top. It all starts with the coaching. Everything is bad for the Bears. I think it's as simple as that. They're another team that needs to fire everyone because people say like, oh, Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator, he might be the best head coach out there. And the Bears situation looks pretty good. Looks pretty good on paper anyways. I don't think Ben Johnson wants to go to the Bears where he has to deal with Ryan Poles. No, he's going to want to bring in his own GM. I don't think that... So I think everyone has to go. Matt Eberflus is gone. Ryan Poles has to go. I don't think Ryan Poles has really been the issue, but you oversaw all of that. And it is bad. And the other bad thing about the Bears here, since 1940s, the Bears are 101, 24, and 2 when they have 0 turnovers on offense and creative takeaway on defense. 3 of those losses have happened in the last 3 weeks. Embarrassing stuff from the Bears. Or just these 2 weeks, they could be at 6 wins, in a playoff spot, control of their own destiny, and coaching matters. Coaching has been the death of this team. Caleb Williams actually played really well. He led them, had some big moments on 4th downs where they wanted to go for it. And this is, again, you can see why Caleb Williams is going to be a really good player. And I'm still on the same page. Of course, Caleb Williams is going to be a really good player. But there's just so much dysfunction everywhere else. The Bears stink. Packers on the other side. We're getting shades of why I don't really believe in this team. Jordan Love, again, continues to throw interceptions. That's now a turnover in every single game for him this season. He becomes the first Packers quarterback to do that since Irv Comp in 1944. Raise your hand if you know who Irv Comp is. But yeah, that's pretty elite category. Jordan Love and Irv Comp. At the end of the day, it's hard for me to say because Jordan Love showed down the stretch last year that he played really, really elite football. And even in those playoff games, he played really, really good football. So the turnovers happen with him, and I think that's okay. But his productivity elsewhere needs to step up. But I also think that everyone else needs to step up, include like these receivers who they've all been playing well, but they all need to take that next step that we thought, or at least a few of them do anyways. Packers are good, but the Packers should have lost this one in the end. So we can move on to the next game. Raiders 19, Dolphins 34. The Dolphins, since Tua has come back, have one of the best offenses in the league. Just success rate-wise, I think we're on par with the Lions, which is absolutely crazy to say, but we haven't really played many good teams, many good defenses anyways, so what's there to say? But the Dolphins absolutely took care of business. The offense absolutely took care of business anyways. Tua, 28 of 36, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns. Achan, another good one, 73 yards and a touchdown. Jonnu Smith was the story of the day. 6 catches, 101 yards, and 2 TDs on the day. Tyreek Hill got back in the end zone. The offense is absolutely crushing it. No Austin Jackson out for the rest of the season. Did not matter. Max Crosby definitely made his name known in this one, but that's what Max Crosby does. But the Dolphins' offense is looking really good. We got the Patriots coming up this week, but as I've always said, the season starts Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, against the Packers. That's when we got to start winning these important games, and we should beat the Patriots with relative ease next week, and then it becomes batter down. We got to get the offense on the same page. We got to get the defense on the same page. Hopefully Bradley Chubb is back for that Packers game. That would be absolutely huge, or at least for down that late stretch. But this Dolphins team is good. I think it's simple as that. If Tua doesn't get hurt, we're at 7-8 wins right now, quite easily. But injuries happen. That's part of the game. Outside chance at the playoffs right now. I think we can still do it. I don't fully believe in the Broncos, but I'm just about to say I do believe. But we can... Actually, no, we can't keep moving on because I do have to talk about the other team in this one, and it was the Raiders. But actually, I got one more note about the Dolphins. Our defense did not play well. Like, the defensive line showed up, got pressure. Zach Sealer, Calais Campbell, absolutely incredible season for both of them. Chop Robinson continues to be awesome. But third and long downs especially, it seemed like the Raiders converted every single time. Can I actually look what their third down? Apparently they were 8 for 14 on third down, which is pretty good. Ours was better, but we are the better team, obviously. But the Raiders converted lots of third and longs in this one. Bend don't break defense, I guess, but can't be doing that against the Raiders because better teams will take advantage. But the real story about the Raiders in this one is rookie Brock Bowers, 13 catches, 126 yards, and a TD. He's absolutely incredible. He's a top 5 tight end in the league already. He has more catches than Puka Nacua does in his record-breaking rookie season last year. Brock Bowers for Offensive Rookie of the Year should be happening. Again, Jaden Daniels, if the season ended today, it would be Jaden Daniels. He's had a great season so far, but again, I'm predicting that second half fall off. As much as I do believe, I don't really believe in the Broncos, and I do think that Bo Nix has been playing absolutely stunning football, but he's going to regress to the mean. Who are we kidding? He's not that good. Brock Bowers is a stud, though. He does deserve Rookie of the Year hype. I am, and I will be hyping him up. Like, what he's doing for a tight end, just what he's doing for a receiver, for a weapon in general. He's having a great year, especially being the only weapon there now. Brock Bowers for Offensive Rookie of the Year. That's my case. We can keep going, though. Rams 28, Patriots 22. Rams offense continues to roll. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, both massive games in this one. Puka Nacua, 7 catches, 123 yards, and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, 6 catches, 106 yards, and 2 TDs. Matt Stafford, dicing them up, 18 to 27, 295 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. The offense just continues to roll. However, the Patriots did almost win this one, and there was a couple key plays in this one that could have been different than, but like, if or what is it? It's if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, then every day would be Christmas. Yeah, the Rams are the better team, but they left the door open for the Patriots a little bit in this one, but the offense was just way too much. The defense did play fairly well. We got that interception to seal the game from Cam Kitchens, and I think a forced fumble. Brady Fisk, yeah. That young defensive line is good, but they're going against a bad Patriots offensive line, so it is what it is. But I think my main takeaway from this game is the coaching from the Patriots continues to be kind of a question mark. I don't think that they fire Mayo after the first year and tear down and try to find someone else. Give him his chance, but The coaching's a little weird because the Patriots do have a guy named Christian Gonzalez who has locked down basically every wide receiver he's faced so far this season. And the game plan for the Patriots in this one was, instead of just taking away one of Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua, their game plan was they're going to focus on Demarcus Robinson and take him away, because that's who Gonzo shadowed for most of the game, was Demarcus Robinson. And the targets when he was on Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, nothing. Zilch, nada. But that was, for some reason, this team's defensive game plan. I don't really understand it. Hey, if they want to cover OBJ or Jonnu Smith or Malik Washington in the slot next week instead of Tyreek Hill and Waddle, absolutely fine by me, but that was a weird one from the Patriots. Drake May also continues to look incredible. And, it bugs me he does look this good. So again, the Patriots, they have no help. The run game isn't good. The running backs aren't good. The wide receivers aren't good. Even the young ones that they drafted. Pop Douglas looks pretty good. The tight ends are old and inefficient. The offensive line sucks. But Drake May has looked like the best rookie quarterback. I don't care what Bo Nix is doing in Denver. Drake May has looked like the best rookie quarterback so far this year, just given off what's around him, and he still looks like a superstar. That terrifies me. I hate that. But will it matter next week? No, because the Dolphins are just a much better, more talented team. But if the Patriots get someone like a Tet McMillan out of Arizona, we can talk about some concern levels of maybe the Patriots being back in the offseason. Right now, no concerns. But Drake May is really, really good. We can keep going here. Falcons 6, Broncos 38. I've been talking about it. It's funny. I've been talking about it. It's like, oh, I'm a believer now. But this entire episode, I have taken every chance to shit on the Broncos or Bo Nix and downplay what he is doing. But no, he's playing absolutely incredible football. And incredible football that I didn't think he was even capable of. I thought that this was maybe Bo Nix at his absolute peak, absolute ceiling. And he's doing that halfway through his rookie year. Bo Nix is going to be a starting quarterback in this league for quite some time. Which, again, you listen to what I said about him leading up to the draft and in the offseason. I'm not a fan. And I still don't think that he has the top-end talent and the top-end skills to be there when it matters. But that's not the point right now. Bo Nix is a starting quarterback in this league. In the same ways that Jimmy G and maybe Andy Dalton and Ryan Tannehill were also starting QBs in this league for a long time. See, even then, that sounds like I'm taking a shot at Bo Nix, and I kind of am, because I don't think he is a difference maker at quarterback, but he is going to be a starting quarterback for a long time. 4 touchdown passes in this one, very accurate, very efficient. This gets on me more of shitting on the Falcons' defense again, because you drafted Michael Penix to sit behind Kirk, and hey, Michael Penix played in this one. Good for him. Didn't really matter if they were getting blown out, but yeah. I gotta stop doubting the Broncos against common opponents anyways, like teams that are on the same level. And I think in my power rankings, I wouldn't have had the Falcons and the Broncos kind of on that same tier, but their defense is awesome. Shout out to Nick Bonito. I think he's now in double-digit sacks for the year. Pat Surtain is still, again, that defense is incredible. That defense is awesome. And Bo Nix is having a very, very good rookie year, despite, again, I want to talk about lack of weapons for Drake May and stuff like that. Bo Nix doesn't have weapons. He's got Courtland Sutton, who is a fine receiver. Bunch of young guys who very unproven. The run game is atrocious, no matter who they put at running back. But the difference between Bo Nix and Drake May, Bo Nix has a very good offensive line. And that was something that I did talk about the Broncos in the offseason, was this offensive line is one of the most expensive in the league. It probably is the most expensive in the league, and for good reason. They got a lot of good starters on that offensive line. And having an offensive line who can protect you fairly well is a big thing for a rookie quarterback. Because you see Caleb struggling with it. You see Drake May kind of struggling with it. There would be more options for Drake May if they had time. But, yeah. The Broncos are good. It's fucking Falcons on the other one. The Falcons, you got Kirk Cousins as your quarterback, and you are the Kirk Cousins of NFL franchises. It fits. It makes sense. Kirk did not play well. No one really played well. And it is what it is. No faith in this defense. And the Falcons are still in control of the division, but the NFC South just turns out it's the NFC South. The Falcons from here on out will not be taken seriously as a team. Their offense can still look really good, but if you put this Falcons offense, if you put Kirk Cousins against a very good elite defense, I'm going to take that other team. Hold me to that. I think that's a good one there. Next game up, Seahawks 20, San Francisco 49ers 17. The Niners blow another lead to a divisional opponent in this one. And Geno Smith played some really good ball. Played some really bad ball as well. There was some missed snaps, new center again. He had a terrible interception, but then he puts on the cape and he drives him down the field, scores that rushing touchdown. Geno, again, I don't understand Geno Smith as a quarterback. He has some really, really good moments. He also has boneheaded moments. But they're both, the really good and the really bad are very inconsistent. And I think a lot of Geno Smith's game is just middle, level QB play. But he has stretches where the great plays, are always there and constantly happening. And then there's times where it's just bad, and the superstar plays don't turn up. But Seahawks really, they took care of business in this one. Plain and simple, this was a game that they needed to win basically for their playoff futures, essentially. They couldn't go too far down in that division. Jackson Smith-Njigba continues to maybe be that number one receiver. He's definitely taking over Tyler Lockett's role, 10 catches, 110 yards. The defense did play well. They're playing hard, but I don't know. This is, again, we talk about the Niners, and this is a team that, again, they have blown a lead to Seattle, blew a lead to the Rams, blew a lead to the Cardinals, and that's the difference of them running away with the division and them now fighting for their lives, now fighting for their playoff lives. And I get to see this team live in a couple weeks, and I can't wait to see, because that could be, I think, who's their matchup this week? I think they might play the Packers this week. Which, if they don't beat the Packers, and then they go to Buffalo, that might be it. Their season might be done at this point, which would be very funny to see Cameron this miserable this early, because he's been saying that this has been the most disappointing season that he's had as a Niners fan, and he's probably right, based off expectations, but the Niners continue to lose games and blow late lead changes, and we wonder what was the difference of this team that's made the Super Bowl the last 2 years to now, where they usually got in these funks, but they got out of these funks, and what's been the difference so far? You want to know what the difference is? They hired a man named Brandon Staley, the former Chargers coach, who loved to blow leads consistently in his Chargers tenure. So the Niners bring that guy into the building, into the locker room, and he just infests. Is infest the right word? No, infects. He infects everyone. God, that took me way too long to think of. But no, he's got his bad vibes, his bad mojo. It's all everywhere now, and the Niners are worse off for it. That's all I can blame in this one. Shout out to Juwan Jennings. He's a dog. He's absolutely incredible. They got him for a steal at his contract. Shout out to Juwan Jennings. That's the positive thing I can say about the Steelers here. Keep moving on now. Chiefs 21, Bills 30. The Bills win the meaningless regular season game against the Chiefs. And it's great. It's big. It's a huge morale booster. They have a chance at the 1 seed now. All these fun things. But we all know none of this matters until the playoffs. But Josh Allen firmly in the MVP race now. I think he's now the favorite, but he put the team on his back in this one. The run game couldn't get going. It was all him. He was the running game. He got that late, long, what was that, a 26-yard touchdown run, broke a couple tackles. That's his MVP moment. And yeah, again, Lamar has the better numbers, but Lamar didn't have the better numbers than some of these quarterbacks last year, and this just might be the voter fatigue thing where Lamar might end up having the better season, but a loss to Josh Allen, and these Bills are going to continue to roll. They're a very good team, and Josh Allen is a great quarterback, and they might just give it to Josh Allen because it's his time now. But I don't know. Yeah, the Bills are great. Simple as that. No Dalton Kincaid. Didn't matter. Dawson Knox steps right up. Khalil Shakir is their wide receiver one. He's, again, the rise of Khalil Shakir has been fast and sudden, but it has been excellent. The defense is playing well. Von Miller got a sack in this one. Terrell Bernard, sack and an interception. And they get Matt Milano back next week, too. And then they have one of the best linebacking tandems in the league again. This is a very impressive team, and it continues to be impressive. Chiefs on the other side. You were bound to lose one of these games eventually. Simple as that. Mahomes, 3 touchdowns, also 2 interceptions. They tried to get Xavier Worthy involved. They tried to make this the haha, you traded a Xavier Worthy, and Xavier Worthy had one of the better games of his career. 4 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. But at the end of the day, I don't think this game really matters for the Chiefs. They've won their division. They obviously want to win the 1 seed, but we've seen it doesn't matter if they have the 1 seed or not. Just Pat Mahomes in the playoffs. They'll dial it up. They'll win when it matters. So I'm not worried about the Chiefs. They play the Panthers next week. Maybe that's an upset spot. I don't know, but I'm not concerned about the Chiefs. They will be fine. They will continue to be fine. The Bills, they just do this. They win the regular season matchup. They'll match up in the divisional or in the AFC Championship game, and then we'll see. We'll see at that point. And finally, Sunday Night Football, Chargers 34, Bengals 27. The Chargers almost chargered, and then they didn't. And this is a testament to the new culture that Jim Harbaugh has brought in night and day from any other Chargers team in recent memory anyways. They would have lost this game. The Chargers would have lost this game, and it would have been, haha, the Chargers are always the Chargers. But no, they have a great first half, bad second half, and then Herbert leads that final drive down the field. J.K. Dobbins running the ball, gets that touchdown, ices the game. The Chargers are oh my God, the Chargers are just different. And I do think coaching is the big thing, and I've been saying it. Jim Harbaugh is the difference maker. And I saw on Twitter today that there was a story of Brandon Staley kind of only when it's teammates' birthdays or something to shout out, that he only would shout out the starters or the young players that we want to be on this team and not the role players and guys. And I think it was Zion Johnson, their guard. Brandon Staley was like, oh yeah, happy birthday Zion, blah, blah, blah. Made it a big thing in his team meetings. And then someone said, coach, it's also Deion Henley's birthday, who at that time, rookie, 3rd round, didn't really, and he was kind of an afternote. It was an afterthought. And then Deion Henley gets a text from Jim Harbaugh on his birthday. So I guess his birthday was this past week. And it was just the most Jim Harbaugh thing. It's another year around the sun, be the best you can be every day, every week, every month, blah, blah, just the Jim Harbaugh coach speak. But it just shows the difference of how much Harbaugh cares about his players, and that it's such a big difference for the Chargers. And we can see it. We see it every time that they play. But the fact that they didn't charger it away in this one, absolutely huge. And we do have to talk about Justin Herbert, because that first half by Justin Herbert was absolutely stellar football, and it does look like a different Justin Herbert that I've seen, or at least in quite a while anyways, because he's playing with, what's the right words? I think Justin Herbert, he's not and hasn't been a confident player and confident in himself. I think he's a little awkward. He's definitely a little camera shy. He makes that known. But having a guy in like Harbaugh changes his demeanor so much, and you see it, and it translates to the field. With all that being said, his second half was absolutely terrible, and we saw the flashes of some old Chargers and Herbert thing, but they got it back on track, where before, if the rails fall off, the rails fall off, and that's it. But the fact that they were able to put things back together, mount a touchdown drive to win the game, absolutely huge. And I'm sure a lot of teams are regretting not picking up Harbaugh in the offseason to be their coach. Last shout out here, Tuli Tuapolatu. I'd say he's the best edge player on that team right now. Obviously, Khalil Mack, he was hurt in this one, but he's better than Joey Bosa. I can just straight out say he's better than Joey Bosa. Khalil Mack's still very good, but Khalil Mack is an old man. Tuli, he is the future of that, at least edge room and defensive line room for them. That's great. Yeah, the Bengals. The Bengals stink. And when I say the Bengals stink, I mean that their defense is terrible and their offensive line is absolutely terrible. They just got whooped. They got whooped so many times, putting Joe Burrow in bad spots. I feel bad for Joe Burrow. I really do. Like, the offensive lines that he has been given throughout the start of his career, I made the joke that, they're on par with, like, Andrew Luck to start his career, and they're not. Andrew Luck's were abysmal dog shit guys who were, like, in and out of the league within, like, 2-3 years. But Joe Burrow's offensive lines have been bad, and they have been getting him killed recently. He's taken a ton of big hits. He's grimacing after all of them. He's definitely playing through some pain right now. But the other Joe Burrow stat that I can say here is he has, in his first 11 games, the Bengals and Joe Burrow, 4-7, he has 3,028 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Players to achieve those marks previously, 3,000 passing yards, 27 plus touchdowns, and 5 or fewer interceptions through their first 11 games. Tom Brady in 2007 and 2015, his team finished with a 16-0 record and a 13-3 record in those years. Aaron Rodgers in 2011 and 2020, they finished 15-1 and 13-3. Patrick Mahomes in 2020, 14-2, and Drew Brees in 2018, 13-3. Like, he's playing unbelievable football, and it's just getting bumbled away by the Bengals and their mismanagement of everything, and Zach Taylor being a bad coach and not being truly up for the moment. But the Bengals aren't going to fire them because they don't fire people, and Zach Taylor's going to get the job for way too long because Joe Burrow is just that good of a quarterback, and he can elevate them enough to be a middling NFL team. And they're not going to pay people. They've already decided they're not going to pay T. Higgins. The price tag on Jamar Chase just keeps going up, and I don't know if they want to pay him $38 million a year to be their wide receiver one. I don't know. The Bengals are a bad franchise, though, and we can't all feel bad for Joe Burrow. Like, yeah, those stats are crazy, but there was a stretch in Drew Brees' career, too, where he went like 7-10 basically every single year, and those were roughly around the same numbers he was putting up. Good QBs can only do so much. Great QBs can only do so much. If the team stinks, the team just stinks. If the coaching stinks, the coaching just stinks. It's as simple as that. We got a great QB duel in this one, though. Herbert and Burrow both doing their thing. But the Bengals just stink. And if you can't beat the Chargers while they're charging, why should anyone have any faith in you? They're on the bye week this week. Maybe things, I don't know, get changed. Shout out to Chase Brown. He's been fun to watch. He's been another weapon for them. But it's an unserious team. It's an unserious organization who will remain unserious. Simple as that. And that'll do it for this episode. I gotta make some dinner. I gotta make some sushi for dinner tonight. Because it's a birthday dinner, obviously. Gonna be a Good Fridays episode. 6 teams on bye, which I'm not a fan of that, but gonna have some good week, some good talks. But as always, if you've liked this, please like, share, retweet, subscribe, tell all your friends, and until next time, peace.